Once there was a dream from long, long ago, a dream even the Romans had, to erect a city here, in one of the loveliest valleys known to mankind, the city of Trier. It was named for the Treveri and founded by the biblical Emperor Augustus as far back as 16 BC. Thus, Trier is today Germany's oldest city, with the emphasis on city, because from the very beginning, Trier was planned as an administrative and cultural center, and not as a purely military bastion, as were some other former Roman cities of today. Everything began with the construction of a bridge. The third Roman bridge is still fully in operation today, faithfully accommodating even the traffic of the 21st century without problems. The wood used for the original bridge can be dated exactly, so that the founding date for Trier is documented with certainty. The Roman bridge brought visitors from the known world across the Moselle into the Roman city during its flowering and extremely prosperous city, equipped with the most modern leisure facilities in the world. Whoever wished to enter the city had to pass through one of the mighty city gates. The Porta Nigra was the north gate, still standing and still impressing guests and townspeople alike over and over again. It was built about AD 180 of sandstone blocks. Originally, the stones were a light color, but in the course of the ages they have weathered, so that the gate received its present name much later, Porta Nigra, or Black Gate. In the Middle Ages, the monk Simeon lived in the Porta Nigra in a cell in one of the towers. Following his death, the Porta Nigra was converted into a monumental double church, a fortunate circumstance, for that is how the gate survived to the present. The people in Trier had already begun to break out the iron clamps with which the stone blocks were held together and to recycle them. It was only on the order of Napoleon at the beginning of the 19th century that the Porta Nigra was freed of its church additions. Only the apse on the east side shows something of its eventful past. When the Porta Nigra became a church, the St. Simeon's Collegiate Foundation was constructed directly adjacent, today the Municipal Museum and the Tourist Information Office. Do not fail to climb all the way to the top of the Porta Nigra. A modern spiral staircase inside allows you to enjoy a unique view over the old city. And if you're lucky, you might find yourself in the middle of one of the many events which take place in or around the Porta Nigra. For example, the German Automobile Club's German Rally. The finish, right through the historical gate, crowns the victor as if for a second time. From the Porta Nigra, the pedestrian zone leads one through the pleasant old city center of Trier. Along Simeonstrasse, one finds first the House of the Three Magi, a dwelling tower from the 13th century. A peculiarity of the house, the entrance is located upstairs. Uninvited guests were kept at a distance by simply drawing up the wooden stairs leading to the front door. However, you shouldn't stay up in the house during the Old City Festival, which takes place annually in the summer throughout the inner city. You should not miss being a part of the party atmosphere, vibrant and alive among the historical structures. Whether a big bash at the main market, in front of the cathedral, or in front of the Porta Nigra, there's really always something for everyone. The walk through the pedestrian zone continues on to Jews Alley. The small quarter arose in the Middle Ages and today is primarily the site of cozy pubs for the visitor. Directly in front of the alley, half-timbered houses in the Moselle Frankish style. The medieval main market is located at the heart of Trier. The city received a charter to hold a market as early as 958. The market cross in the middle of the square still symbolizes this rite. Those looking for the market church will have to look around a bit. St. Gangolf's stands hidden behind the houses on the market and is accessible only through a small gate. Shining in brilliant colors, St. Peter's Fountain, named for Trier's patron saint, St. Peter, stands directly in the vicinity. The Red House is principally known because of its rather daring inscription. It claims that Trier is 1,300 years older than Rome. The Steipe received its name from the supports for the arcades, also called Steipen in medieval Trier. It was the banqueting house and reception hall for guests of the city council and provided social rooms and refreshment rooms. It was rebuilt after being completely destroyed in World War II. After recent careful restoration, the Steipe now houses the Toy Museum. A stroll through the Trier Toy Museum is also a journey into the visitor's own past, a journey into the dreams of childhood. The exhibition items are lovingly arranged for viewing on 3 floors. Located nearby is the grain market, Kornmarkt, with St. George's Fountain. Only recently has the historical square been renovated and freed of parking cars. Just a step or so removed from the pedestrian zone, the birthplace of Trier's possibly most famous native son, Karl Marx, was born in this house on May 5, 1818. The house from the 18th century is a museum today, with information on several floors explaining the life and work of Karl Marx. It's risky to dig a hole in the ground in Trier. Several years ago, more or less as a coincidence during the construction of an underground parking garage, the Forum Baths were discovered, the third Roman baths in Trier. The remains of the structure from the 3rd and 4th century AD are now preserved and protected by a massive glass cube designed by the famous German architect Professor Oswald M. Ungers. Today, the remains set the background for cultural events of all kinds, such as the annual wine presentation, where hundreds of local top wines are on hand for the tasting. Our walk through Trier's inner city continues on to the Jesuit Church, which has served for many years as the church for the Trier Theological Seminary. Our path now leads us back to the center of the pedestrian zone, where the romantic Trier Christmas market takes place annually at year's end. Then the wonderful aroma of mulled wine and cinnamon wafts across the medieval main market and in front of the Trier Cathedral, and children's eyes shine in the glow of the Christmas lights. The Trier Cathedral is Germany's oldest Roman Catholic bishop's church. The oldest section stands above a former palace of the Roman Emperor Constantine and dates from the early 4th century. The cathedral's Roman core has original masonry rising to a height of almost 85 feet, over 25 meters. The section of granite column next to the cathedral entrance also points to the Roman origins of this house of worship. The Trier Cathedral stone, however, is also a piece of deep-rooted Trier lore. Trier natives, as well as visitors to Trier, should have a slide down the cathedral stone at least once. Over the centuries, the cathedral was repeatedly damaged, often severely. In the 11th and 12th centuries, the still existing Roman core was expanded by 2 Romanesque extensions. Today, the cathedral, with its 3 crypts, its cloister, and the cathedral treasury, displays art and architecture from a span of 1700 years. A very special relic also is enshrined in the cathedral, the Holy Robe, according to tradition, the robe of Jesus Christ. Next door to the cathedral is the earliest Gothic church in Germany, the Church of Our Lady, built in the 13th century. The special feature of the structure is the cruciform floor plan. From Cathedral Square, we reach the Bishop's Museum, formerly the Royal Prussian Prison. It exhibits, among other things, Christian art and archaeology. Holding pride of place is a ceiling painting from the period of the Emperor Constantine, assembled in years-long work like a jigsaw puzzle or mosaic. Only a few hundred yards or meters away, one reaches the Basilica, the imperial throne room of the Emperor Constantine. It is the largest single room surviving from antiquity. The Romans wished to express the majesty and power of the emperor through the architecture, something they unreservedly succeeded in. The gigantic hall is so large that a 7-second-long echo answers the tones of the great organ. Even by 21st century standards, the dimensions of the basilica are astonishing. The palace audience hall is 90 feet or 27 meters wide, almost 110 feet or 33 meters high, and 221 feet or 67 meters long. Hard to believe, but everything was created by hand, without the aid of modern machinery. The throne room was also provided with floor heating. Today, the Basilica is a Protestant church, the Church of the Redeemer. Just look around the corner from the Basilica to find the splendor of the Baroque and Rococo eras. The former electoral palace from the 17th and 18th centuries is considered one of the loveliest Rococo palaces in the world. Normally, it can be viewed only from the outside because it serves today as the seat of the district administration. On occasion, however, for example at a concert or an official reception, a visitor can view the interior of the palace, and especially the magnificent Rococo staircase. The path continues from the Electoral Palace on through the Palace Garden, a grand park area in the middle of the inner city, to one of Trier's most important museums, the Roman Archaeological Museum, Landesmuseum. Here, you should not miss the display of fabulous gold coin that was found only recently, also by chance, by a hobby archaeologist during excavation work for a parking facility. The major portion of the enormous collection in the museum dates from Trier's Roman period. A model of the city shows the large Roman city with its many houses, administration buildings, and luxurious leisure facilities, such as the amphitheater and the circus, the chariot racecourse, and the 3 huge bathing facilities. The best known of the Trier baths was and is the Imperial Baths. Although they were never finished as such, they remain an impressive testimony to Roman architectural art and expertise. As in other structures, a massive floor heating system was planned. The subterranean labyrinth of canals, passageways for service personnel, and the heating system are for the most part still visible. If you really want to get closer to history, let yourself be lured into the fascinating world of the Romans by the Tribune Malobaudus. This event is offered almost every weekend during the high season. Make your reservations early. Hands-on history is also available every year during the Roman spectacle, Bread and Circuses. A Roman military camp is erected in and around the imperial baths, crafts from antiquity are on display, and Roman specialties from the cookbook of the master chef Apicius can be tasted next door. Along with the camp in the imperial baths, the gladiator combats in the amphitheater provide thrills and excitement. Although the games are only staged today, in the Roman era as many as 20,000 spectators watched the bloodthirsty events in the fight arena. Every seat offered excellent viewing and spectacular acoustics. And because of its unique atmosphere, the amphitheater still serves as the venue for concerts and theater of all kinds, for example, the annual Antiquity Festival. The amphitheater is built into the slope of the Petrusberg Hill, which forms the eastern border of the Moselle Valley. From here, you see clearly that Trier lies in the middle of the famous wine-growing area Moselle, Saar, Ruwer. It is principally Riesling grapes which are grown in and around Germany's oldest city. The Wine Information Trail gives you a good survey of the subject before you try Trier wine during a wine tasting. The magnificent view from Petrusberg Hill extends across the old city as far as the Abbey Church of St. Matthias on Trier's south side. The Church of the Benedictine Abbey is one of the most significant structures in Trier and contains numerous art treasures. Presumably, the first Christian community in Gaul arose here. It is also believed that here, in the center of the church, the Apostle Matthias is buried. As the only apostle's grave north of the Alps, thousands of pilgrims from all over the world make it their goal yearly. On the north side of Trier, another art treasure awaits us, the Church of St. Pauline, with its incredible ceiling paintings and sculptures, the work of, among others, the artists Balthasar Neumann and Ferdinand Tietz. Our visit in Germany's oldest city ends with a view from the western side of the Moselle. Let's close the day in the old fisherman's quarter Zurlauben. The rustic taverns and gourmet restaurants offer wonderful food and atmosphere year-round, but the high point in Zurlauben is the annual Moselle Festival in the summer. For over 2,000 years, Trier has been an attraction for guests from all over the world. And whoever has succumbed to the charm of the Moselle and the hospitality of the Trier people will return again and again.